Yo, yo, yo. Hello, guys. Can everyone hear me? Hello, Lucas. Halloween. I'm going to wait 5 more minutes before I share on Twitter. But yeah, just wanted to test if everything works. If you can hear me, if you can hear the music. So, do you guys hear me? Does everything work? All right, perfect. Target. Target is all the way down here, man. 2K. Target is here. Oh shit, I have to add the PrimeXBT thingy. How do I do this? Image. All right, perfect. I wouldn't put the target that low. No, I know, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this short. For now though, because I don't know, this move, it's an aggressive move down, right? So I could as well just see this roll over a little lower into lower 30Ks. So I already took off half. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna hold the other half. Okay, just gonna share on Twitter now. El Romano, what's up, man? Right, so just gonna wait a little longer for wait for some people to join, and then we'll get started. Kraken's whole trading program just stopped working for me. It's like a hell broke loose. Yeah, some more exchanges are having problems right now. Hello, Anno5. Hello, hello. 50 people watching. All right. Do we need someone to debug Bitcoin over 40k? Nah, it's over, man. We're going to 2k. It's all over. Liquidity below the lows right here. Yep. Alright, so Rip Corn, it was a good run. What's your advice to someone just starting? We'll get over those things later in the stream. I'll first of all start off by saying a big thanks to PrimeXBT for sponsoring the stream. Okay, so PrimeXBT is an online platform, trading platform, an exchange where you can trade forex, crypto, commodities, indices, all of that stuff with a single Bitcoin-based account. Okay, so yeah, definitely make sure you check out the link in the description of the live stream. There are also 2 promo codes that you can use. One is for a 50% deposit bonus, and the other one is for a reduction on your fees. So yeah, big thanks to their team. Check them out. Okay, so what are we going to do? I'm going to give my thoughts on Bitcoin first of all. Explain what I am watching, what my game plans are, also discuss some of my previous trades, and then I guess we'll take a look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, some stuff like that, and then maybe yeah, some other altcoins or some coins you guys want me to take a look at. Okay, so also please start off by liking the video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate that a lot. Okay, so Bitcoin first of all. So gonna start off by saying that I didn't think that we were going to break 40k. So what I did, I posted this in the Discord, that I was taking a short. Okay, so before we broke above 40k, right, that I was short hedging because I was expecting some fuckery. I didn't think we were going to break 40k, so took this, stops at 41k, then we broke above. I held on to it, and yeah, now we saw this. I already took half off at 39,000 or something when we got that huge dump and got some buyback here. Then we nuked lower. Now it seems like we're getting some buyback, but yeah, I mean, I'm not net short, you know, it's just a short hedge protecting my spot. So why did I short? If we simply take a look at the funding rates, first of all, those funding rates are not really what you want to see if you're in longs, right? So yeah, moves up on Bitcoin with funding rates like this mostly don't last long. And then along with that, the premium was spiking. So if we compare Bybit and BitMEX to Coinbase, you can see heavy premium. So for those of you that don't know what premium is, premium basically compares the price of a spot exchange to the price of an exchange with futures. Okay, so in this case, Coinbase versus MEX and Bybit, the average. Okay, so if the spot price is higher than the futures price, that means that it's a healthy run. That the run up is led by real money, by spot, okay, and otherwise it's perps driven, which is unhealthy, and then that also goes along with high funding, of course. So that's why I shorted. I already closed half, like I said. I'm just gonna keep the other half. I wouldn't be surprised if we get just some ranging right here, sweep some lows, and then maybe go for higher, but we'll see, right? So let's start off on the higher time frame chart, right? The weekly. So we are in price discovery, okay? So we don't have levels to work with from earlier, right? So basically the only ways to kind of give you a view of where to take profits, or just levels where you can expect some kind of resistance, is by using measured moves and FIP extensions, right? So the charts you see on the screen right now is basically the range from the all-time high in 2017 back to the all-time low in between now and this all-time high. Okay, so this was the lowest point we traded in this time, and then the all-time high. Why this range? Well, simply since they're the two extremes of all of this time, and also because of the levels of how pivotal they are. Okay, as you can see, we've interacted beautifully with these levels here, the mid-range, resistance, resistance, resistance. Okay, also this 0.25 level and 0.75 simply divides this range in another halves, right? And as you can see, those levels are acting as pretty good pivots as well. Right here, resistance broke above. Okay, so yeah, and then what I did is simply well, basically copy pasting this range above well, just yeah, copying it and pasting it above the current range. And then if we take a look at the lower time frames, those levels have played a pretty good role here. So yeah, the all-time high resistance, of course, at 20k. Then the first level where we stopped a little was right at this 1.25 level. The next one right here, the mid-range, okay. So resistance broke above, upside, then this wick we saw here right into this level as well. And now, as you can see, also the level that is capping the market to the downside right now is also this key range level, okay? So what do I use these levels for? I mean, I would never blindly sell a level, but those are levels that I would take where I would take profits on longs or on spots, okay? And also just use these levels in Confluence, or look for entries on the lower time frames, on sweeps of lows, right? If you see like some key lows being made and then a sweep of the lows into that higher time frame level, and you have some nice confluence with demand or something, that's those levels only at Confluence, right? And then trade it from there, okay? So that's what I use them for. So what did we see right here in this range? We were trading in this range, so we broke above the 30k level, which was pretty heavy resistance right here. Then we got the breakout, and then this level was the first level where we saw a pretty heavy rejection. Okay, so we saw this red candle. So then I simply took the high as a range high, and the first low before we saw the bounce as a range low. Then we broke above, deviated above range high, broke below, formed supply right here. Okay, so just in short, what is supply? Supply is sideways price action before a bigger move in either direction, okay? Well, supply and demand, of course. So supply is the consolidation before a bigger move to the downside, and demand is sideways price action before a bigger move to the upside. So this was the sideways price action before we broke down, and then you can expect those levels to act as a resistance. So resistance, another retest, equal lows being made right here. And yeah, then we just broke down swept all of these lows, swept some lows right here into this higher time frame key level, strong buyback. If we take a look at the premium back then, you can clearly see that premium was in the red, which means that spot was clearly leading on this dip. So spot was buying the dip. So we did that as well. I bought Ethereum and Litecoin on this dip. Okay. Let's remove those. Right, and then we broke back inside the range. Ran higher, swept some lows again right here. And then we just started grinding higher. And then, yeah, accelerated into 40,000. To be honest, I didn't take a single Bitcoin trade except for that short hedge that I'm in right now. And then the previous trade I took was like, yeah, was somewhere around here. I took a scalp on the reclaim of the mid-range. But anyways, that doesn't matter. So let's also take a look at the opens. So the weekly open, the daily open. Perfect retest right here of the daily open. But yeah, the reason I'm keeping my short right here is because premium needs a reset. So I think we won't go straight towards new highs. I think if this is still bullish, right, which it obviously still is, that we're going to see some ranging and then maybe a sweep of the lows and then go higher, or that we'll break below the daily open and trade lower from there. Where is my first area to look for longs is last week's high. Okay, so why? Because this is a demand area. The consolidation before we broke above 40k, well, the origin of the move towards 40k. If price returns to this area while sweeping some lows and we get a strong buyback and a reclaim of the daily open, then I'll definitely be looking for longs right here. Also if premium resets, by the way, and if we reset a funding rate, then that's where I'll be looking for longs. And yeah, I'll be targeting higher 40ks. If we break below last week's low, that wouldn't be a good sign in my opinion. Then I think we at least trade back towards this mid-range level, which is a pivotal level as well, right here, as you can see. And yeah, into this demand. If we break below here and below range low especially, then I think we see more downside towards here, towards this kilo. Right, so first area of interest for longs will be a sweep of the lows into last week's high, a reclaim of the daily open, then that's where you look for longs. Might as well catch a small long here, keep your stops below the weekly open right here, target higher 40ks, so something like this. As you can see, pretty good risk rewards, and then add if we reclaim the daily open. If we don't see a sweep, a quick reaction from the lows and start consolidating here, I'd get a little worried, because then probability wise I think it's more likely that we maybe sweep some highs first and then ultimately drop lower to take out all of these lows into the mid-range. So then I'll be looking for longs right here, and look for this to trade higher from there. And then, yeah, like I said, if we break below here, I mean, I'm not really interested in taking swing shorts, more just looking to hedge my spot and to catch longs on dips, right? So yeah, that's what I'm watching for Bitcoin. Is that clear? Trading Pup, what's up, man? I hope you will save the stream, please. Could you explain the funding rate analysis? Yeah, so funding rates are simply is the price you pay to be in a certain position. If you're short, well, if the funding rate is positive, shorts pay longs, and if the funding rate is negative, then no, it's the other way around. If the funding rate is negative, longs are getting paid, and if the funding rate is positive, then shorts are getting paid. So right now the funding rate is very high into the positive, so shorts are getting paid bigly, which is a big reason why we saw this fuckery. So that's also why I posted on Twitter, right? I posted that I was expecting some fuckery like we had at 20k, right? I didn't expect that we would break 40k because it's such a psychological level, right? But we wicked above it and then dumped, right? If we check at 20k what we had back here, right? So this fuckery right here and right here. So just some sweeps of the high, downside, sweeps of the high, downside. Then here, yeah, this ugly consolidation sort of thing. Getting something similar here. So yeah, that's why I'm holding this. I don't care if I get stopped out right here, because I think if this manages to reclaim, like, let's say 39.8, something around there, if this manages to do this, then I think we'll be trading a lot higher towards like 45, 46. Yeah, but I mean, probability wise, I think we see some downside, or at least some ranging first, something like this, maybe another attempt, but then a sell-off again, and then yeah, we have beautiful lows right here, so some ranging would be very welcome. If we get something like this, some ranging, and then we go for the lows, right? Sweep the lows, get a strong buyback, then you just want to be longing this and target a higher 40Ks. And if we don't and we break down, or we see aggressive downside from here, right, then the first area where I'll be looking for longs is last week's high. So in here, I'll definitely be looking at a reaction there. But yeah, I mean, you know Bitcoin, right? It can be really aggressive, so it could as well just nuke a lot lower. Although that would be a brutal move. But yeah, you never know. Still holding GRT, yes. I'll take a look at some altcoins in a minute. When everyone's doing lives and you have to go between them all because of Bitcoin. Range good for alts, right? Could look at ETH Bitcoin and Litecoin Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm gonna take a look at those for sure. So first of all, let's take a look at Ethereum. Bitfinex. Okay, so let's also start off on the higher time frames, as always. So the thing I'm watching on Ethereum, so also Ethereum is in a very tricky spot in the last key resistance, basically before new all-time highs, and I'll explain why. So if we take a look on the 4-hour, on the price action of 2017, so former all-time high, we can see that we had a clean range right here, which is this one. God damn. Right, so why this range? So we made the all-time high. This is the all-time high. And then we got aggressive downside, and this from this low, so this was the first low where we saw a decent bounce, okay? So taking this as a range low, and then the first high after the low as a range high, okay? And the first high as well where we saw some downside. So from this high we traded back towards the mid-range, so taking this as a range high. And if you, as you can see, we deviated above range high right here, retest, okay, sold off, broke below the mid-range, retest, okay, made an equal low here, and then we broke below, well, we deviated below, reclaim, okay, consolidation, retest, mid-range, retest, and then yeah, support was just getting weaker and weaker on every touch, okay, a little bounce, and then we just nuked through. Small retest right here, retest of range low right here, as well acting as a resistance. Okay, so key range from back in 2017, and if we now simply take a look at how of these levels were respected right here, even on the hourly, you can see all the way resistance here. Once we broke above, retest, we started running. So yeah, let's stay on the 4 hour for now. Okay, reclaimed mid-range, retest right here, another retest, and then we reclaimed range high, and then yeah, started running from there. And right now we're right on top of range high. So another level from back in 2017 will of course be this high. A key liquidity high. Boom, okay. And then this as a key level. Why that level and not the all-time high? Because this is the high that got swept, okay, before we saw the downside. So high being made, liquidity being built up above, a little downside, and then one last push to take out the stops above this, and then we saw the aggressive downside, okay? So that's a key level we have right above this high, and also goddamn, okay, and also supply, right? The little consolidation sideways price action before we broke down. And as you can see, we just took out that high, key high, right into that supply area. So that's why I'm not really looking to long this right into resistance, okay? But yeah, I mean, this is basically the last resistance before we see all-time highs. What could I see here? I mean, or this is just a quick shakeout on both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we reclaim these levels and move higher from here. But what I think is going to happen is we'll see some downside here. Reclaim of range high to the downside, okay? Then I think we'll be trading back towards this mid-range and go for all of these lows. I mean, this run up, right, in such a tight channel is just not healthy, in my opinion. You just on every move up, you build up more liquidity to the downside, and then you have a blow off top, you sweep a key level into supply, and then you just take it all at once. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bigger shakeout, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if this does something like this, then consolidates around here, does some shaky moves, okay, to shake you out, and then reclaims this, and then things will go very fast and we'll trade higher towards all-time highs. But yeah, I mean, if I had to choose between buying Ethereum or Bitcoin at these levels, I would definitely say Ethereum, because Ethereum is simply looking exactly like Bitcoin was looking right before it broke all-time high, right? This supply area, this order block, right? So Ethereum is basically right here. So I mean, yeah, Ethereum is definitely a better bet at the moment than Bitcoin, in my opinion, at least for spot backs. So I bought spot on this shakeout right here, and I'm planning on holding that. If we do get more downside, even into range low right here, I'll simply buy more. I think it's just a matter of time before Ethereum hits all-time highs. So also let's take a look at ETH Bitcoin. So ETH Bitcoin key weekly range that we're watching is this one, right? So we had this aggressive downside, and then we had a little bounce here, and then the bigger bounce happened after we made this low. So this low as a range low, and then the first high as a range high. And as you can see, the levels have been acting as pivots beautifully. So resistance right here into supply, reclaimed. So well, we reclaimed range low here, failed to hold above, broke below again, retest lower, deviated above again. Then this was a reclaim, and then we shoot up towards mid-range, support, 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 broke below, resistance, resistance, resistance. Okay, almost back to range low, retest, range low, and now we're seeing a strong bounce. So Ethereum Bitcoin basically took out this low into range low and into demand. If we check the monthly charts, you can see that there's an order block right here. Oops. So we took out stops below this low into demand, into range low, and then we just straight up shot up for the high right here. And right now we're retesting supply. So this sideways price action before the down move. So we swept the highs. What would be the real confirmation of a move towards range high, towards these clean highs right here? That's simply a reclaim of range, mid-range, range mean, and this key high. So on the lower time frames, as you can see, this level has been acting as a resistance. We had a few wicks in there. Once we can reclaim this level, I think Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin heavily. So that's what I'm watching for this right now. It's just ranging right now. I wouldn't be worried too much about this, right? If we take a look at this range, right? Mid-range perfectly acting as a resistance here. So if we see a little more downside, sweep the lows into demand, okay, reclaim, wait for this to simply do that, and then reclaim of this mid-range, the higher time frame mid-range, and this key level, then I think it's go time. And then you want to be long towards here. But ultimately, I think this is not gonna hold here. As you can see, inefficient move right here. So first resistance around here. And that will simply be the move where Bitcoin moves sideways. And Ethereum goes for new all-time high, right? And then Ethereum, Bitcoin is gonna moon as well. So that's what I think is going to happen. Once Bitcoin takes like a breather and starts ranging, I think Ethereum is going to outperform bigly. Can you pump EOS? EOS was looking very good some days ago. I will take a look at it. What are your... Yeah, Bitcoin took around 3 to 4 weeks under all-time high resistance. Yeah, exactly. ETH new all-time high, guess. Well, just like with Bitcoin targets in price discovery, you just use measured moves and FIP extensions, right? So if we simply take the all-time high, the previous all-time high, and then the all-time low in between, and then measure the move to the upside, these would be the levels you want to be watching. So 2200 and 2700. So, but yeah, like Bitcoin just flew away from these as well, you know. But if you're into some lower time frame place, or you're in longs, right, I would definitely look to reduce size at these levels and then look for a dip back. But yeah, I mean, if you take a look at Bitcoin, right? We also just pumped straight through this level. So yeah, but yeah, those levels are definitely gonna be pivotal levels, I think, especially on Ethereum. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say any target I think this is gonna hit. I mean, above this, I have no clue, right? And I'm just gonna trade this level to level. Maybe hold some spot. I mean, like I said, I bought spot on this wick down, but I'll be fully out of that when we hit like 2000, something like that. That will be enough for a spot play. Do you have the settings you use for the FIP retrace for me somewhere? So for these target levels, if you mean that, that's simply the 1.618 and the 2 FIP level. So like this. Can you check Wi-Fi? Yes, GRT. What about the equal lows at 26k? Equal lows at 26k. Let me check. Oh, these, you mean these? Yeah. I mean, if, like I said on the higher time frames, right? If we had a break below that mid-range, then I was going to target this low. But from there, I think we won't do this, right? Take it into this demand, but then I think we'll be heading for these lows indeed, into some heavier demand right here. Then I think we see a little more downside towards here, make everyone think we're going to retest 20k, right? Would be classic Bitcoin, and then we just go up from there, maybe sweep once more, and then something like this. Are you seeing a possible retest of 20k for Bitcoin? Well, like I said, that's unlikely in my opinion. But I mean, this scenario is unlikely in my opinion as well. I mean, like back in 2017, we had this, and Bitcoin, when it made the all-time high, it dumped, retrace, dump. Okay, so I mean, the downside was aggressive, right? What I think Bitcoin does here is, instead of the clean move down, I think it's gonna be more like a ranging environment, right? Before the next major move, at least. Right here we had bull market, and then bear market, right? What I think happens here is bull market, and when things slow down, that we won't see aggressive downside, but I think then we just see a ranging environment, something like this. Maybe, like I said, into 25Ks, right? But I don't think we're going to aggressively move down like a lot. So yeah. All right, let's take a look at Litecoin next. Bitfinex, let's remove all drawings, start on a clear chart. So Litecoin, the key ranges you want to be watching are these ones. Always the same. The range low is the first low after this downside. Range high, the high after the bounce. And then, as you can see, mid-range beautifully acting as a resistance. And guess where we just found resistance? Right at this mid-range. Okay. Yeah, that's a beautiful chart actually. So right here we deviated above, got back below, resistance, sold off. Right here we reclaimed the range low, retest, and now we ran up towards the mid-range. Okay, so what do we want to be watching next? Safe longs are going to be above range mean. And where am I looking for longs? Let's zoom out a little. So we have this clean range, the high and the low. So this high is the high that caused this breakdown. Okay, aggressive move from this high. So take that as a range high. And then the first low as a range low, we ran up, reclaimed the mid-range. As you can see, resistance right here, broke above, retest, went for the highs. Okay, we now swept the highs right into range mean and got rejected. So what do we look for next is a move towards range low. And then from there, look for a sweep of range low into clean demand right here. Reclaim, and if we then manage to reclaim mid-range, then I think we'll be ready for a real move towards 250. I did buy Litecoin on this as well, like I said earlier, Litecoin and Ethereum. And also here, if we get a sweep of the low into demand, I'll buy more right here, and maybe even if now. So if we get that, something like this, or something like this, then look to trade it higher from there. All right. Any questions? What are your rules to determine your range? Well, I could literally write a book about that, and that's what I did. Well, I wrote an article about that, so it's on Medium. So if you find my Medium page, I have written an article about ranges there, how I use them. So you can check that out. Can you do EOS? Yeah. When Lambo. What do you think about ETH Bitcoin? Well, I already gave my thoughts on ETH Bitcoin, right? I'm gonna start off with GRT. All right, since I mean this was the alt that looked the best to me. I was in a long. So wait, let me get my original plan for this from the Discord. So this was my plan for this one, right? So we had a clean range built up right here. So range low. So we had this down move, right? And then from these lows, we had a good reaction, a pretty nice pump. Range high, the first high, as you can see, mid-range pivotal. Okay, lining up with this consolidation and then acting as resistance. So what I was watching here, we just swept some highs into mid-range. I said, if we get a retrace towards range low and towards this key high, okay, that was clearly resistance, high swept, okay, resistance, broke above. So that was gonna be a key level. If we got a retrace into there, then I was gonna look for longs towards range mean and range high, okay? So that was the plan. And as you can see, let's remove this for now and this as well. Okay, so that's exactly what we got on this move. So we swept some lows right here. Okay, so yesterday evening, during that little dip on Bitcoin because of the situation in America, I bought this dip. This was the setup. Okay, so long from here, targeting range mean and range high. Stop loss right below this demand and below range low. Unfortunately, I didn't take any off at the mid-range. I did another play on another coin today, which hit the target, so I was like, I'm gonna fully hold this one. Unfortunately, it dumped back into my entry, but in my opinion, this still looks great. So what it simply did today was basically just take liquidity above here into mid-range, and what it did now is take liquidity below the lows into range low. And as you can see, the buyback is pretty significant, so in my opinion this still looks very good for higher. I'm still in my long fully. I was even going to add if we got something like this, but yeah, I was streaming of course, so but yeah, I mean, if I wasn't in this looks like a beautiful setup. Just something like this. Stops, maybe keep your stops a little safer and keep them below here. Target range high. I mean, that's 2.3 R. That's a beautiful setup, right? So in validation, if we break below here, okay, then we're most likely going for these equal lows into lower demand right here. So into this little consolidation. But I mean, for now, this looks freaking good for higher liquidity. Okay, we still have clean highs right here, right here, right here. So yeah, I'm holding this this long. So that's the only altcoin I'm in right now, the only long. Another play I did today, that's a huge stop. I mean, no. Like, do you mean on the setup I am in, or? So this is the setup I'm in, and if you take it right now and you put your stop, it's not about how far your stop is, right? It's about the risk reward. If you keep it below here, target range high, that's still 1.8 R, high probability. I would take that, to be honest. Can you turn your cam on and take your shirt off? King Mitch, what's up, man? Jurgen, even with the extremely high funding, yeah, I mean, funding is, yeah, that funding is horrible. I mean, we're not gonna talk about funding. But yeah, I mean, I paid 3 times already for funding, and I was like, the gains of the play are gonna outperform. But yeah, I'm still paying, and I'm gonna hold it. I still think they will. I mean, look at this buyback. It's significant, right? Perfect retest of range low while sweeping the lows. That's just an A+ setup for me. Reduces R, yeah, exactly. But I mean, 1.8 is still fair enough, right? So this was the second play I entered today. Let me also get my setup. I posted this one publicly on Twitter, by the way. Right, so this one, range high, downside, clean low, low swept, reclaim, retest, range, okay, ranging before the move means that this is gonna be demand, so I bought the retest and target, clean highs, clean highs, clean high, and price discovery. Along with that, Wi-Fi was trading toward, I mean, Wi-Fi was breaking out massively, right? So that's also that also added confluence to this play, and so yeah, that was right here, right? Oh, let me remove this. That was right here, and then yeah, we got this little downside retest, and then on futures it perfectly hit my target. It was like 30k, and on futures it hit that exactly. So that was this one. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Isn't the buyback on Bitcoin ETH not also too heavy to call for a bigger correction? Yeah, I mean, I'm not, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Bitcoin is going to massively correct here. What I'm saying is I don't think Bitcoin is going to do this, because with these funding rates, right, like you're paying 0.2% if you're longing this. I mean, with these funding rates, I think it's very unlikely that we'll just chat up from here. What I do think is that we're either going to see lower or simply see some ranging, okay, and then slowly let spot catch up, okay, and look to reset funding. And then when that happens, so when you see this, right, when you see ranging, and you see funding is neutral again, the premium is neutral again, I mean, just long this, close your hedges, and we're going for 45k, you know. But for now, I'm short hedged, and I'm going to keep this. So yeah, definitely not saying this is gonna dump, and I also don't think it is going to, but I'm saying, yeah, I'm just protected now, right, in case it does. All right, so what other alts should I take a look at? So we had EOS, right? Let's take a look at that one. Remove everything weekly. All right, so EOS was looking pretty pretty damn good, in my opinion. After this sweep, we already saw a breakout today, but what I did want to say about this one is that I think it's lagging massively behind the other ones. Why? Because basically they all have a sort of range, a major range, right? A low, then a cool bounce, significant bounce, downside again, then swept the lows right here. Reclaim, retest, mid-range, resistance, back to the lows, back to the mid-range, resistance, lower high, by the way. So what does a lower high also mean? That just means more liquidity above here, more stops, equal highs, fairly equal highs, downside again. And then we saw a sweep of these lows, of all of these local lows into range low, and a strong buyback. Okay, so that's pretty significant. So if we draw a range from that as well, key low to key high, you can see the lows got swept into the higher time frame range low level, significant buyback, reclaim of a key level, and now as you can see we broke above the range mean and we swept some lows. Holy shit, this is actually looking very good in my opinion. We have some supply right here. So what I would want to see, because right now we took out these equal lows right here into supply, right? So what you want to be seeing is a break above here, some ranging here, and then a higher high, higher low. And then I think this has massive upside potential towards, all the way up towards range high. So that's also what I'm saying. I mean, Litecoin, Litecoin USD weekly, right? So if you draw a similar range here, it's this one. You can see it's trading above above the range high already. Ethereum, I mean, you could compare it to this range, right? It's almost exactly the same. Massive move. So if EOS, which one was it? EOS, Coinbase, yeah. So if EOS looks like this, I mean, I think this could pull a major move towards this into this supply. So that's why I've also been saying I would look to buy some spots. EOS, that's an easy 80% play in my opinion towards range high here. So yeah, on the lower time frames, I mean, look for strength above here. We just swept the highs and now swept the lows. Let's remove that for now. And this, yeah, see, we had the lows are cleared, clean highs above. I mean, yeah, this looks fucking good. I might even buy some after the stream, to be honest. Spot. I mean, it's just beautiful. It reclaimed the key level, mid-range, Right, swept the lows, now into the key level, looks ready for higher. Yeah, holy shit, this looks fucking good. Anyways, I'm gonna wait for after the stream, but I think I'm gonna buy spot. All right, next one. Please cover Bitcoin. I'm holding it back from higher up, about to dump for loss. Bitcoin. Yeah, by the way, if you have questions or requests, feel free to type them in the chat, right? So this is Bitcoin. So let's take a look. Let's start off on the monthly, right? So always start off on the higher time frames. What is capping the market? So pretty significant is that we're trapped between these two monthly high and lows. Well, one high and one low. Basically a November range, right? So let's mark that out like this. November high, top left. Oops. Okay. November low. All right, and then zoom in. So that's the key range that it's still trapped within, right? On the weekly, don't really see anymore, maybe this level. But apart from that, not really much. Okay. What do we see here? We have some clean lows right here. So the clean liquidity lows gonna mark out with a dotted line. Yep, and then that's gonna be okay. So clean liquidity below here, demand being built up. Well, so I mean a key level is this one right here, right? So if you take a look on the weekly, this high, okay, and then we smashed through and broke above. So what I would be looking for on Bitcoin is some more downside here, okay, into this level, key level, and then look for a reclaim of November low, so a reclaim back inside this range, and then simply look to trade it towards the opposite side of the range, back towards November high. Okay, so as you can see, clean unswept highs right here, all the way down. So yeah, sweep of the low in here, reclaim, that's your trigger, back towards the high. And then, yeah, I mean, then you have a clean break in market structure, so then it could as well go a lot higher, back towards this significant level. That was also a range we were trading in right here, so something like this. Right, if it does this, sweeps the highs back in November high, definitely close, look to short it back towards here. If it reclaims this, right, key level as you can see, then target here and here into this supply. Okay. Iota. Iota weekly or monthly range even. Yep, as you can see on the monthly, mid-range has been acting as resistance for ages. Resistance, sweeping some highs, resistance, resistance. Now we're attempting another time. So this could as well see a major move, right? So if a level is tested multiple times, you can expect the move to be bigger, right? So another key range is this one. Why? This low is the low that costs decent bounce. Sorry. The high as a range high, then deviated below, reclaim, boom, and then we went for the highs. Swept the highs or deviated the highs, back towards mid-range support, and now it's attempting a breakout. So this looks pretty good for higher as well. It broke above this higher time frame mid-range level and above range high here. So I'll take a look at the lower time frames in a minute, but if this breaks out, I mean, you could expect a big move and a fast move towards range high. So that would be the target on the higher time frames. So these clean highs right here. Right, so just mark out the key highs that are laying above. So clean drawn liquidity to the upside. Okay, so let's take a look at the 4 hour. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, a lot of alts just swept lows into demand. I mean, and it's just a season where you buy those, right? So what I would be looking for here, if you're a bull, look too long. Let's take a look where weekly open, monthly open. I mean, yeah, as you can see, this is gonna be big demand, right? So I think your stop below last week's high, somewhere around there, is safe. And then target range high. So a setup like this. Right, so we reclaimed those key levels, just swept some lows. So that's your, that adds even more confluence, right? So liquidity to the downside has been taken, clean liquidity above. So long invalidation if we break, I mean, I'd be surprised if we break below this, right? If you see how pivotal this level is. Resistance right here, resistance, broke above, support, ran up. So a break below here wouldn't be a good sign. So there's your stop is safe there in my opinion, and then look to target range high. So that's iota. Let's do SNX now. Yeah, I mean, this is just in price discovery, right? But as you can see, something you always want to be taking a look at when you open a fresh chart is simply the previous candle's low and the previous candle's high, right? And if the previous candle's low has been swept and the previous candle's high has not, then the liquidity is to the upside, okay? And since it's on a daily time frame right now, that's pretty significant. So if you then zoom in, I mean, you already have a clean view on what this is doing, right? It swept the lows into demand. Beautiful. And you have clean highs above. So yeah, this also looks good for higher. How can you then again know what the target is? In price discovery, again, use your FIB extensions or measured moves, right? Like this. And then you see your target is gonna be around here, in between the 0.618 and the 2 FIB level. So this looks good for higher. If it reclaims the daily open from here, closes above, I would be looking to fill bids. Invalidation below demand, target up here. If it breaks below this again, below this demand, it's most likely gonna go for last week's high and the weekly open into this key level right here. As you can see, resistance, swept, resistance, support. So then I'll be looking for longs there. And if it breaks back below here, then it will most likely head a lot lower into this low, because this high led to this low, right? So then it's also just a range. You can just look to trade it back towards the opposite side of the range, and yeah, look for longs down there. But for now, this looks pretty good for higher. Just swept some lows into demand with clean highs above. Right, Luna. I have no clue what this is. Never looked at this one before. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say a lot about this, right? It's just been pumping massively. If you're, I mean, first of all, I wouldn't short this. You have no reason to short this. Looking to long the dip, this was the consolidation that led to this move. So if it retraces in there, look for a structure that looks like this, sweep of the lows, and then you look to trade it towards the highs again. Okay, so look for a sweep into this demand. That always adds more confluence than just a retest of a level, right? Something that does this is less significant than something that does this. You always want to be looking for this. That's also my major play for alts, by the way. What I always look for is, so most alts have already had a cycle up and then come down, even if it's on the lower time frames, right? Like GRT, stuff like that. They had it on, I'll show after this. Then you want to be looking for a low to be made where you see a bounce, okay? High being made. Then look for weakness towards the low and look for a break below, an aggressive move below, maybe some consolidation, and then once it reclaims that level, okay, and does this, that's where you want to be looking for longs. That's my favorite alt play. And then look to trade it towards here and here. Okay, so then that's your entry, your stop below demand around range low, or demand right here, and your target range high. See, that's so just this pattern is something you'll see a lot on altcoins, even, I mean, on the higher time frames, but also on the lower time frames. For example, here, right? Downside, low, high, below the low, consolidate, reclaim, retest. So now I'm expecting upside towards the highs, right? And you see that with a lot of coins. I mean, it happens all the time, you know. It's beautiful. So yeah, this Luna coin, what was this? Luna USDT. So yeah, like I said, I mean, can't say much about this. If it comes down here and does something like this, you could be looking for a long right here, or just, yeah, blindly bid this. But, and then if it gets back below last week's high, breaks below here, and then ultimately below this, that would mean a break below the weekly open. Below, is this the weekly open or the monthly open? Yeah, both the weekly and the monthly open. If it breaks below here, then it's most likely going for last week's high, into lower demand right here. Okay. Who's the guy in the profile picture? His name is George. That's also why my name on Twitter is George. So Eos we already did. Where have you learned trading? Big fan, by the way. So originally I started in Crypto Trooper and Chase, their paid group. I joined that, and then I've been literally with them for ages, for like, I don't know, 6 months or something. Then I went my own way, started trading on my own, and improved a lot. And then I joined Trader SZ for 1 month as well. Yeah, to sort of redefine everything. And yeah, I learned how to think in probabilities, for example, and to have game plans, right? So to have a game plan on what you want to see, and then waiting for the trigger. That's also something, in a Monday range as well. That's stuff I learned from SC. And yeah, but my ranges stuff was all from Crypto Trooper. He's a beast as well. So definitely check those two guys out. Yeah. Bitcoin 4 hour will close in the green. What's Bitcoin doing now, by the way? Yeah, it looks pretty pushy. Would you like to check out Doggy for me? Doggy. Yeah, also just in price discovery, right? So that's the main range that it's trading in. The high, sell-off, resistance at the mid-range. See, beautiful, rejected, broke above, retest, support, made an equal high, or maybe swept it a little bit, back towards range mean, upside, broke below, resistance, swept the lows, okay, swept some highs here into range high, and now we swept some lows. So what would be the trigger for a long? If we break above here, above this key level, right, that has been acting as a resistance, and reclaim this range mean like this, then I think it's going for range high and new highs. And as long as that doesn't happen, I'm not touching this. I mean, it's Doggy, you know, not really interested in trading this. But yeah, if it reclaims this, then it's most likely gonna trade towards the highs. Next, if it breaks below range low, yeah, I mean, we have some demand right here, but it already got tested. So then I think we'll just be heading for this low as a target, and then into these lows, into monthly open and last week's low. And that's where the real demand is, right? As you can see, boom, boom, and that led to this upside. So then look to trade it towards there. That's Doggy. Luna means moon in Spanish, no TA needed. Do you already had those points as last week high, weekly open, monthly open, daily open, or is that a macro that automatically adds to the chart? It's an indicator. It's an indicator that a member of my group made, so it's all automatic. So to get in on the close of the retest candle when playing alts, and same technique for alt Bitcoin. Yeah, same technique. I mean, the closes are not that significant in my opinion. I look more at the wicks, like you might have already heard. I talk a lot about sweeps, right? And sweeps are quick moves below and above key highs and key lows, right? So liquidity above and below them. I don't really care about the closes. Well, on the higher time frames I do. If it closes on a higher time frame above a key level, then you just have a higher probability of looking for longs on the lower time frames, right? So then you can just use that therefore. But apart from that, I mean, if a close on the 4 hour, right? I mean, if it breaks above a certain level on the lower time frames, it might not mean that it closes above this on the 4 hour, right? So it's all, I mean, you just have to see if it reclaims and holds above, and if it follows your game plan. If I would have said looking for a sweep of the low and a reclaim of the weekly open, right? then that would be my trigger, and I wouldn't really have to wait for a close. Hi George, have you discussed Wi-Fi already? Nope, I'll take a look at Wi-Fi. Let's also start on a clean chart on the weekly. So things that stand out to me immediately are that this low got swept and this high got swept, right? So this high got swept here, so that's gonna be a key level. This low got swept here, and we saw this move, so that's gonna be a key level. Apart from that, let's just mark out these highs. Okay, and then on the daily, what do we see? Yeah, we had a massive move on this one today. What's the key range? I mean, I would redefine this level to this range, right? And why? Because so this was the high that caused the first downside after this rally, and then this was the initial low, retest of the mid-range, and then we swept the lows. Okay, so retest, sweep of the lows. This sweep led to the break towards the highs, then downside again. Okay, chop chop chop. Another sweep of the lows. Well, we didn't quite sweep these, but anyways, reclaim, consolidated, swept the highs into mid-range, into supply, and now we just massively pumped above this. Took liquidity above here, above this high, into supply right here. So I mean, I definitely wouldn't be looking for a long right here. If you are in longs, I would definitely TP some. We have swept a major high into supply. What I would be looking for right now, if I was looking for longs, right? So if I was bullish, I'd be looking for, well, just like it's doing right now, but longer. Just wait for this to range, right? Build up a range, boom, look for a deviation, sweep below, reclaim, and that's where you long towards the highs. Always the same, right? But longing into this will just cost you money, in my opinion. I wouldn't be surprised if this just chops you up, and yeah. So that's what I then would be looking for. Look for a sweep into former resistance, and then yeah, targets would be the former high, and then this high and the all-time high. Would it be possible to explain how you calculate targets for profit taking and stop losses? So targets I did at the beginning of the stream, you can just watch back. That's basically with FIB levels, right? So quickly explained, if you want to be looking for the last leg down before it went for new highs, right? So the last leg down before it went for price discovery, and then you want to use your FIB tool like this from the high to the low, and then your target is going to be this 1.618 and 2 FIB level. The key levels indicator, is it only for members from your group? Yes sir, it is. I just checked on TradingView and the indicator is locked. Either, yeah. Pissed I missed this Wi-Fi pump. Yeah, man. I mean, there will always be new opportunities, you know. Right, so any more questions or anything else you guys want me to do or take a look at? Well, not to do, or Mitch is gonna say I have to take my clothes off again. yeah, I'm holding this. I might even add, I mean, nah, I'm not gonna add here, but if this reclaims the daily open, yeah, nice confluence around here. So resistance, resistance, broke above, support, pump, broke below. If it now manages to reclaim this, then I think it's ready for range high. Quick Bitcoin. I already did Bitcoin at the start, man. Algo. Well, as you can see, I already had a plan here to look for a sweep of the lows, and then for this to trade higher, and that seems like that's exactly what we got. Oh yeah, Algo is actually beauty, but yeah. I mean, it has been trading in a tight range, right, on the daily. This one, and then like you see, like I explained on the pattern you want to see on alts, downside, low, bounce, okay, look for the deviation, look for the sweep, demand, reclaim, long, stops below here, target the high, and as you can see that played out beautifully. But anyways, so yeah, it's been ranging for a long time and then broke out, aggressive upside. So the range you want to be watching here is this one. So key low, key high, equal, swept, broke below. So yeah, if it manages to reclaim that, that would also mean a reclaim of this key level. High, swept, resistance, support, broke below, resistance, boom. If it manages to reclaim this, first target, range mean, second target, range high, and then into all-time highs. But I mean, yeah, this looks very good as well. Algo, in my opinion, for higher. Just a quick shakeout, quick sweep of the lows. Yeah. What do you think is the final target for Bitcoin in this bull run? I have no idea, man. I wouldn't be surprised if we would be trading around 100k at some point in 2021. But I mean, I'm not setting any target where, yeah, for my Bitcoin. I mean, I'm just looking to hedge when funding gets really high, and so far, I mean, I haven't lost that much. Well, that much. I mean, my equity curve is pretty much at an all-time high, so I trade in between and look to hedge at massive pumps and high funding rates, and that's how I'm gonna be playing this. And then once we top, like I said, I mean, the first move will definitely be a big one. So I think if we topped, or at least locally topped, the first move is gonna be big, right? This is not a top, right? If it tops, it's gonna be a big move. But yeah, like I said, I don't think we then see continuation, aggressive downside continuation at least. Then I think we just start ranging, sweep, maybe lower, higher again, lower, I don't know. So yeah, that's how I'm planning to play this. VeChain. Oof. Yeah, this looks beautiful as well. I mean, a lot of coins look beautiful. Wait, so is this in price discovery? Yes. Okay, so all-time high. As you saw, clean range, boom. Resistance at the mid-range, resistance, swept the lows beautifully into demand, This was a fat long. Sadly, I missed it. And then, yeah, we just broke above. Retest of this was also a massive long. As you can see, swept this low right into mid-range. Beautiful. And then just continuation, reclaim, retest. And right now, it swept the lows again. So, I mean, it's just a pattern, right? You see, consolidation, move higher. Sweep of some lows, consolidation, higher. Consolidation, sweep of the lows, higher, maybe. Let's see. But yeah, I definitely like it. See, sweep into last week's high, weekly open. Clean invalidation below there. Long. Invalidation right below the weekly open. Target. There you go. Beautiful trade, in my opinion. Yep, this looks very good. If it breaks below the weekly open and last week's high, then I think this is the local top. And then we're most likely heading back for lower demand around the monthly open. Okay. Which indicators do you use and how? Well, the only indicators I use are key levels, which simply shows me the daily open and the weekly open, monthly open, last week's high, Monday range, stuff like that. All of these. And the other one is the premium index. So the indicator that shows the difference between spots and futures. And those are the only two indicators I use. Well, I mean, this one is just levels, right? So it's not really an indicator, but it's just easy to use. Just for fun, look at Sol. Please, made good money with it yesterday and today. Yeah, but Sol had this airdrop, right? I mean, airdrop, no, not an airdrop, but tokens were being dumped on the markets. Yeah, I mean, look how fucking ugly this is. I mean, I don't want to be trading this. Maybe tomorrow. I mean, this chart looks pretty damn good. See, by the way, again, same pattern. Downside, low, bounce, range low, range high, deviation below, long towards a high. Beautiful. If it reclaims this, I think it's on its way to this key high right here. Clean highs right here, right here, right here. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at it yesterday and the day before. But yeah, I mean, with these tokens being dumped on the market, I rather stay out. Right, guys, for those that haven't liked already, please like and subscribe to my channel. And for the gossip, what you think happened to Satoshi Flipper? I don't know. I mean, he had something with family going on, right? So that's yeah, that's not really nice to laugh with that. That's horrible if something happens to your family, right? I think it was, at least. I don't know exactly what happened. Lachasballon, did you enter Sol because you expected it to retest your yearly open? I'm not in Sol. Oh, you're tagging someone. Okay, wow. How do you feel about RSR? Let's see. Oof, also beautiful. See, again, mark out last candle low, last candle high. You immediately see the lows have been swept into demand. Clean highs above. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take some positions after the stream. This shit is looking fucking good. Oops. I mean, risk reward on this one is not the best, because you would have to keep your stop like around here and your target. I mean, even if you take this, It's this risk reward is okay, but I'd like to keep my stops a little wider, below some key levels, below the weekly open, maybe below here, but then the risk reward is not the best. But if you're in longs on this, I would definitely be holding. I mean, as you can see, consolidation, sweep the lows, continuation, consolidation, sweep the lows, continuation, right? So looks very good for higher. But yeah, so already had this game plan mapped out. Clean highs above. Dips are for buying, in my opinion, towards range high and into this key level. So let's take a look. Daily open retest, some demand right here. But I mean, I don't really like the look of this. It's broken below this key level. Retest could as well just go for this low, in my opinion. So what I'd be looking for is to a little more downside, sweep into some heavier demand, this mid-range level. So that's the range, right? Range high, range low. So key low, bounce, range high, swept the lows, retest, demand, retested, and then up to the highs. So it broke back inside the range. So what you'd be looking for is, in my opinion, to buy the mid-range retest, and then look for it to trade higher towards the highs. So in a bull market, a continuation play in a range is to look for so a range to form, a low, then a high, well, maybe a high, then a low, okay? Then you go for the sweep of the low. Let's remove this. Sweep of the low, reclaim mid-range, okay? Sweep the highs, then retest mid-range, then reclaim and move higher. So then where do you want to get in? That's on the retest of the mid-range. So that could be a nice play here. Some downside towards this low into the mid-range, and then look for this to reclaim some key levels and look for it to trade higher towards range high. Your TA is very different from most I use, but it seems to be very good. Thanks for sharing. No problem, man. Nice play, man. Good catch. All right, I'm going to end the stream here. It's been an hour and like 20 minutes. So I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all learned something. I'll definitely be doing this again. So again, big thanks to PrimeXBT. Definitely check them out. Also, I have my own website. If you're interested in anything I do, check that out as well, and sub and like this video, please. All right, so take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.